So after more than 20 hours of watching these videos, you might start thinking, so what can I do about all of this? What can I do to increase my sexual satisfaction? A century ago, there was a conviction that the right technique was central to sexual satisfaction. During the era of the Industrial Revolution, heavily inspired by the philosophy of enlightenment, human beings were seen as some kind of a human machine. And in this material and mechanistic worldview, input leads to a desired output if a specific physical process is carried out. So, just like a machine needs to be operated correctly, also the human body needs to be operated according to its instructions manual. So, there was a conviction that by learning the right technique, one will achieve pleasure. In this view, the focus was on the short-term physiological orgasm, but not on the long-term satisfaction or fulfillment. However, if you listened carefully to the previous lesson, you will have understood that technique is not so important, as it's mainly a matter of your psycho-spiritual maturity. And it's not just about the sexual satisfaction, but the impact this also has on relationship satisfaction in general. So how can you improve your sexual satisfaction? Well, the answer is both simple and extremely complex. Just do your inner work so your ego state becomes lighter. Sex is just one aspect of human life, but all these aspects are very much interrelated. Healthy sexuality requires healthy relationships, secure adult attachment, healthy boundaries. Improving your sexual satisfaction is not that much about sexual growth, but more about personal development, about the wholeness of your personality. So I believe that doing some inner work is good before you jump into relationships. And although I'm not going to preach that one should wait with having sex before marriage, I do want to preach that you better work on becoming a conscious human being before indulging in sex too much. Having sex in an unconscious manner can easily lead to even more unhappiness and suffering. So there is no silver bullet. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. And in this lesson, I will give some general guidance on what you can do or work on, but it's your personal task and responsibility to fine-tune this to your own situation and needs. And you can also work with a sex therapist. But it's important to find someone who works with the issues you want to tackle. Many sex therapists tend to specialize on or focus on sexual dysfunctions, which are important to tackle in the ego states of disintegration and fear for sure. But not all sex therapists look at the psycho-spiritual aspects, which are required to work on in order to reach the lighter ego states. All too often, sex therapists are giving you a solution, but they do not always help you with your inner work. And on the contrary, they may actually offer you shortcuts. So there are quite some limitations to contemporary mainstream sex therapy and clinical sexology. And very often, they may be looking for a medical treatment to a psychological issue. And working with medicine can indeed be very useful, but it will not treat the underlying challenges or problems. Another observation I have made is that quite some sex therapists have a dominant sexual instinct. And as a result, some of these people may approach their therapeutic practice through the bias of their dominant instinct. For some people, this may be useful, but sexual blind people may find it hard to relate to that therapy. And the same way, if you are sexual dominant, but your therapist is sexual blind, also there you may find hard to relate to the therapy.